Hi! I'm here! I usually start my videos upright so you can see my beautiful face. However, I want to work at the table anyway, so we're just going to point the camera down and we're just going to go. So hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Cinnamon Stitches. I am your yarn host, Jennifer. I am taking a drink of my tea. I have filmed several videos today, and I figured since the camera's already facing downward, we're just going to leave it that way. So, as you can see, I got some yarn from the Dollar Tree. I am going to insert a clip somewhere in this video. You may have already seen it. I don't know, because I'm just filming. I haven't thought that far yet. So I went to Dollar Tree. And I went to a Dollar Tree that I don't normally go to, and they had these new yarns. They had the Plush and the Eyelash. And I think I'm going to cut it right here and show you the Dollar Tree that I went to. Okay, now that you saw that, you saw what we were working with. The Dollar Tree that I went to does not normally have yarn. They don't have even regular yarn on a normal basis. And I only went to that Dollar Tree because I was at Ollie's and I needed hand soap. And Dollar Tree was next door to Ollie's, so I went to that Dollar Tree. And they had these yarns. And I had been looking for the Plush for well over a month at my local Dollar Trees. I have 3 Dollar Trees within a probably mile and a half radius of my house. So I have a lot of Dollar Trees to visit, and not one of them has had the Plush yarn. So I was a little irritated by that because other podcasters are showing it. I'm like, okay, well, I'm looking for this yarn. I can't find it. So not only did I find the Plush, but I found the Eyelash yarn. Now, I'm going to tell you this straight up. I am not a fan of these type of yarns. I don't normally purchase them. I tend to stay away from them. I specifically don't like eyelash yarn. I don't know why they make eyelash yarn. I don't know what purpose it has aside from possibly doing amigurumi. However, I purchased these because I was thinking these are Christmas colors. They also had the eyelash yarn, if you saw in the video, in like a silvery color, which would go with this very well. And I think they had the Plush in another color. I don't remember. But I picked these colors because I wanted to try them out. I wanted to see how I felt about them. And this one in particular, I just wanted to tell you guys about this yarn in case you saw it and what you could possibly use this yarn for. Okay, we're going to start with the Plush, the Just Yarn Plush, because this is the one I have been looking for the most. This is the color, ooh, creme brulee. I love creme brulee. It is one of the very few desserts that is gluten-free naturally and that I can eat. And then we have burgundy. This is 106 yards, 100% polyester, a medium 4, machine wash cold, lay flat to dry. It says 4mm hook. And I don't know what hook I would use with this because of that fur. You want the fur to stand out. At first when I saw this, it reminded me of the Aspen yarn from Premier, which I've done a review on, and if I can remember, I will put a link to it. And I thought this was going to be like the Aspen, but it is not. The Aspen is much, much thicker than this. This is a very thin, it's a very thin yarn. So I'm going to pull a little bit out, and I'm just going to work up a swatch because I want to see what this looks like worked up. So, and I want to give it a proper review. So for $1.25, you get 106 yards. And I have said in the past, I don't generally work with this type of yarn. It's not my favorite. And I'm going to use one of my new crochet hooks that I just showed. Let's see. This recommends a G. I'm going to use an H just because it's already shedding. Just because I always, when I'm working with anything that has fluff or fur on it, I always go up a hook size than what they recommend so that I can see the stitches, or at the very least feel the stitches. Now, I know right off the bat, when you're talking about these type of yarns, I might have to switch hooks. That might not be a pointy enough tip. When you're talking about these kind of yarns, the first thing that comes to mind for everyone is, okay, that's going to make teddy bears or amigurumis or creatures, right? When I was working with the aspen was very close to this in color, but it was much thicker, bulkier, and I made a beautiful little throw pillow out of it, and it worked out beautifully for a throw pillow. This, I think, would also make excellent trim for hats or gloves or stockings or Christmas decorations of any kind. The reason I'm saying Christmas is because of this color is like very Christmassy to me. And when you have this kind of yarn, you kind of have to feel where the stitches are because you're not going to see them. So I always do very basic, simple stitches, and I always use a bigger hook than they suggest so that I can feel where the stitches are. Oh, dang it. I slid out. So that's what it looks like so far. Probably should have used a lighter color. It's looking kind of dark. I'm just doing half double crochets. I think half double crochets works really good with most yarns, most stitches. This is very soft. It feels nice worked up. Running over my hand, I can't feel the fluff so much. I feel more of the thread. So I think long term working with this is probably going to cause irritation to my skin just because of the skin issues that I have. I think for me too, because of the yardage and because of the way this works, so I think that I would use this for trim. I would use this for hats or mittens and the trim on those things. I don't know what else I would use these for. I would not use this for an amigurumi because it would be wonderful for an amigurumi, but I don't prefer making furry amigurumis. I don't make amigurumis very often anyway, but when I do make amigurumis, I kind of want to see the stitches because that's like the whole point of an amigurumi for me. I can buy a furry teddy bear, you know, but I want to see the stitches. That's a personal preference though. So that's what that wool looks like. It reminds me of a rug. Reminds me of a shag carpet I used to have in my living room. Now let's see, does it frog? That's the truth. Oh, that frog's pretty decent. And we saw that it shed just a little bit. Yeah, that frog's pretty decent. So, there you have it. New furry yarn at the Dollar Tree from Premier Yarns. I personally prefer the Aspen on Premier's website to this, but this isn't bad. It's not bad for just $1.25. Alright, now let's work with the Eyelash Yarn. I detest Eyelash Yarn. I'm just going to be real. Big giant hole. I just don't like working with it. I don't like the way it looks. I don't like the way it feels. However, I kind of want to crochet some Christmas garland out of this because I think this would make really cool Christmas garland. And I have a Christmas tree that is my bedroom Christmas tree. I love Christmas trees. So I have a Christmas tree in my bedroom. I have a living room Christmas tree, and each one of my children have Christmas trees in their bedrooms. Now, the kids are allowed to decorate their tree with whatever decorations they can scrounge up, make, create. They can put toys on their tree. It is all fine with me. What yarn? I didn't even tell you about this yarn. But for me, my Christmas tree in my bedroom is all crocheted. So, Everything on there is crocheted. I have crocheted ornaments that I received from some of you guys, which I really appreciate, and I put them up. This is the 3rd year they will be on my tree. I want to make some crochet garland. So this also is 100% polyester. It is 107 yards. It's considered a bulky number 5, which means we need to probably go up even a bigger hook size. Because, where's my K? My K hook will work. The reason they say it's a 5 is because they want the eyelash to actually show. Now you can actually use eyelash yarn to give your projects eyelashes. You can sew this onto a amigurumi and give it actual eyelashes. You can do that. I don't know if you know that. You can. The reason they want you to use a bigger hook is so that the eyelashes don't get lost, because very easily it can just turn into looking like a thicker yarn because the fur will compress. So they want the eyelash effect to show. So what I was thinking is garland. So you use a big hook, and that way your little eyelash pieces still stick out, right? And then once again you have to feel for the stitches because there's no way you're gonna see them in this eyelash tangle. And because I'm making garland, or want to make garland, it doesn't matter if I put too many stitches in or not enough stitches, because it will just make it twist and it will give it even more of a garlandy look. That's why I got the red and the green together, because I want to like make just garland. So that is what that looks like worked up. I have seen people use this yarn for trim on ugly Christmas sweaters. I've seen people use this as trim on regular sweaters or all kinds of things. You can also hold this yarn double with another yarn to make, give you a different effect. So, and as a matter of fact, I'll grab some yarn so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. Let me just get this row in and I will show you. But not only hold it double, you can also do something called surface crochet with this yarn. So what I did, and I will show you because I will get an example. That's what that looks like. Now, I'm going to grab some yarn to hold double with that. If I can find the right color. We got green. And then I'm going to show you this because that's a prime example of surface crochet. Alright, so first things first, we're going to frog this and see how well it that frogs without even trying. I would not recommend using this fancy expensive wool, but this is the yarn that I had close by. That for some reason already looks all tangled up. I'm going to hold double so I can give you an idea of what that looks. I don't know how that occurred to this ball of yarn, because I have not used this yarn. I have not done a swatch with this yarn. This is a nice merino wool. Alright, so I'm using a contrasting color but a coordinating color because Christmas red and green, so that you guys can see what it looks like when you hold these together, because this is a very common way to use these eyelash yarns, fluffy type yarns, is to hold it double, and it will give you an easier time seeing your stitches beneath, but will still give you the eyelash effect, or the fuzzy thing. So some people will use it this way. I actually don't prefer to use it this way. It's not my thing, although I don't really like this type of yarn, but it does have its purposes. And like I said, I'm going to work on garland probably in December with this yarn. Hopefully I can find the time. and you will get that effect. So you'll still get the eyelash effect, but then you can also still see the stitches pretty clearly. So this is what a lot of people do, is they hold it together with a like-minded yarn, and then they can still get some of that furriness. I personally think this is hideous. It's so hideous. But I just wanted to show you guys that that's what people do with this yarn. I did a hat like this and I hated it, and it just, I don't know, it looks like a creature. Now you can do this, you can make amigurumi this way, you can make hats this way, you can make whatever you want this way. But also, you can do something like this with this yarn. Now this is a funky, this is my caterpillar, okay? I made a caterpillar. What I did is I crocheted in the round the caterpillar's body. So I crocheted it just like an amigurumi. I made what looked like a pickle, because we got these little nubs for legs, okay? And then I took this yarn and I surface crocheted. Now to surface crochet and get this really cool effect with this eyelash yarn, I'm going to actually crochet on him if I can. This is how I made his furry part of his, like this. This yarn has these pom-poms mixed in with the eyelash yarn. However, you just take and you go into the stitches and you crochet on top. This hook is too big for those stitches. Woof! That was a tight fit. Try smaller hook. There we go. And you just make single crochets on the surface, and because this is so furry, you don't have to get every stitch. It does not matter. You just this is surface crochet. Oh, I'm not even on camera. This is surface crochet. You find a way to go around the stitches on the outside, and that is how you add fur to the top of whatever you're working on. This is the only way I like to use eyelash yarn. And I have some because I was making the bugs for little man, and I did my tarantula like this. So see that? That is how you make fur on the surface like that. It's surface crochet. I learned this from, I think her name is Foxy Creations. She was talking about surface crochet, and I was like, what the hell is surface crochet? I need to know. So I started trying, and that's what that looks like, the surface crochet. And it frogs easily off of that. See? And our stitches are back to normal. But that's how I created this little guy with funky eyelash yarn, is I crocheted on the surface. So that is one thing that this eyelash yarn is really good for. If you want to make like cool little beasts or bugs or creatures, you get yourself some eyelash yarn, you create the amigurumi first, and then you just surface crochet like I showed you how to do, and you get this beautiful funky effect. And you can do this to not just amigurumi, you can do this to clothes too. If you wanted to make like a sweater and have some weird trim on it, you could do that. Or if you want to make a hat and surface crochet on the top of it, this kind of stuff, you can absolutely do that. If you crochet a ball out of regular yarn and then you surface crochet with something funky like this, you can make a pom-pom for your hat that like no one else will ever have. So yeah, that's what I did. I surface crochet this way, and then I surface crochet that way, and then I surface crochet that way. You can kind of see some of the stitches here. So that's what I did. I just crocheted on the top of this. So there you have it. Some really cool funky yarn from the Dollar / Premier Yarns. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but if this is something you want to play with, or you've always wanted to try, or you want to make yourself some garland like I plan on doing for the winter time, it's better to buy it at $1.25 than to spend $6 on yarn that you're going to hate, because I cannot tell you how much of this type of yarn, this specifically, I got from a reuse shop, because they have an exorbitant amount of eyelash yarn in there. As a matter of fact, I still have some over there because they had so much of this type of yarn, because people buy it because it looks cool and it feels really slick and soft, and they're like, I'm gonna do all these things, and then they get home, they're like, I don't know what to do with this yarn. I have no idea. So that's what you can do, and it's only $1.25. So I don't know if your local Dollar Tree will have either of these yarns, because like I said, none of my local Dollar Trees had any of these yarns. I had to go searching in a far off distant Dollar Tree. But yeah, I thought that would be a fun yarn to show you guys for Friday's yarn videos. So thanks Premier for constantly giving the Dollar Tree something interesting to show us so that we can go hunting for it. Are you guys like, I'm one of those people where I hunt Dollar Tree for stuff. I watch Dollar Tree unboxing, or not unboxing, I watch Dollar Tree haul videos, and it's not just craft ones. Like, I have to know what Dollar Tree's selling. It's always something new. And I kind of like that my favorite yarn company is a part of that, because there are so many options that you can find of yarn at the $1.25 Tree. They have the plush, they have the eyelash, they have the regular Just Yarn, they have the Just Active Yarn, which is a polyester regular looking yarn, which is really nice to work up. And then they have the Just Yarn Tweed, which is beautiful. And it's a way to do like little samples of yarns and try new types of yarns to get an idea of what you like. Or if you're on a budget, like, it does help to buy a little bit at a time. If you can only afford $1.25 a week for yarn, I mean, hey, you can stockpile that way. You can build up your stash that way. There's no shame in that at all. So, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.